Hey, BeatiDudes, it's Jeff Shufflebine coming to you with a special message at the start of this show. Like all shows, we include both humor and holiness in this episode of the BeatiDudes, but we actually cover a very difficult topic of child molestation. Again, like in all of our shows, there's no bad language. There's nothing that somebody couldn't hear at any level. However, this is a very sensitive subject, so if you have young ears around, or this could be a trigger for you or for somebody in your life, please take a moment to pause and consider your surroundings before you engage in this show. And when you're ready, we do encourage you to go on this journey with us. It's a very special one, it's a very powerful one, and it's a very prayerful one. So here comes the BeatiDudes. God bless you. Oh yeah, BeatiDudes. Welcome back to another rip-roaring episode of the BeatiDudes. My name is Jeff Shufflebine. I'm so excited to be joined by Nick Besner.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Nicholas.
What's going on?
Oh man, the two of us are also excited to be joined by Paul Kolker.
Howdy, Nick and Jeffrey.
Howdy, guys. What's been happening in your worlds lately?
I just made eye contact with Paul. I don't know that we've ever done that.
On the show?
So closely.
We always avoid.
So early in the show, I guess, maybe.
You know,
I'm in a different
It's
parallel.
a rider in Nick's contract that I never make eye contact with him, so I apologize.
He's got nice eyes.
Right? Yes.
There's just something kind about it today.
Yes.
Maybe that was it. Something
That's it.
extra.
incredible.
All right.
I don't even know what's happening, but this is great.
I don't either, but I feel like our guest here, we're getting to be joined here in a second by Steve LaMure. And in a second, we'll let him talk more. Steve, are you always this red, or is this a moment of like, why am I on the BeatiDudes?
The eye thing was a little weird, but I'm good.
Because he was caught in the crossfire.
I'm right in the middle, guys.
Like, why did they both lean in?
No, that didn't happen. Well, mostly didn't happen.
The reason I say crazy stuff about the physical nature of this show is to encourage YouTube viewership and viewership on Spiritus TV.
Yeah.
I think I'm saying
Spiritus.
that right.
Spiritus. Are you
close.
Are you from Beaumont?
Wait, Jeff, what is Spiritus.tv?
Yeah, that's is that?
Or SpiritusTV.com.
I think he's right.
.tv? No?
Well,
No.
I'll tell you what.
Okay.
We'll say it both ways, and then I'll edit it in. SpiritusTV.com. Spiritus.tv.
.com.
I'm not editing any of this. I'll just figure out which one it is later. I'll tell you what. So it's a YouTube-like platform that is absolutely full of just completely Catholic content that has been vetted. There's a section called humor. We dominate that section.
Yeah.
Turns out there's a missing niche in the Catholic world.
No, but it's pretty cool because it's basically a one-stop shop for homeschoolers as well, because it's the kind of thing that a family can sit their kids down in front of and just let them watch whatever's on there. What?
I'm trying to picture.
Well, maybe not Father Chad Rippiger because he gets pretty intense, but
I also like the BeatiDudes homeschool curriculum that we're working
on. Oh, yes.
Guys, what did you think Paul was trying to be in that impersonation?
Today's
Play along
show
at home.
Brought to you by the number 3 for the number of BeatiDudes.
Oh, goodness. Well, okay, I'm going to introduce our guest now. Steve LaMure, longtime friend, BeatiDude at heart, but first-time guest on the podcast.
Yes, indeed.
My goodness, welcome. You have a great voice for radio.
Thank you very much.
I've been on your podcast before. You give everybody hats to wear. We just make you sweat it out in a hot office.
Hey, everybody's got their gig.
Ours. Oh, and I was thinking about this because of the close proximity of everybody. We keep getting calls like, "Hey, my boss wants to be on the show. So and so would be a great guest." And I'm like, they have to be willing to make intense personal eye contact.
Right.
You got that?
I'm good at that.
You did it right there.
That shake
Wait,
you just
I gotta go this way too.
Don't leave me hanging.
When you just shook your eyebrow, I saw a professional wrestler.
Really?
Yeah. I thought you were going to give me the DDT.
It was a Stone Cold Steve Austin
You know
sort
what?
of look.
I had
Yeah.
I put a few pounds back on, but I was in really good shape about 2 years ago, and I had a kid walk up to me in the bathroom and say, "You look like," I was like, "Thank you, son." This just made my day.
Is that when you quit dieting?
That's when I stopped working out.
Achieved.
hit my goal, done.
You have like a personal trainer. It happened today. Somebody called me stone cold.
So you're fired.
We're there, baby.
That's how goals work. Achieve them and give up.
Yep. You just go back to where you were.
Why keep going down that same path of hard work?
He
Right.
he already knows the curriculum for the homeschool kids.
Today's class on virtue will be one lesson long.
It's fortitude. Fortitudes.
I might start a competing podcast.
The
It wouldn't be hard.
Yeah, just find a couple other chums like us, and that's all you need.
Get chummy.
There you go.
Wait, yeah, chumps to get chummy. Yeah.
Yeah. Chum. I think,
said that
okay,
wrong.
I'll follow you that. Chum Bums is in the song Give My Regards to Broadway.
Oh,
Don't they say Chum Bums?
what year is that from?
Did he just bring up a song that
I'm gonna
my
say-
mom used to listen to when she was a teenager?
I'm going to say that's beyond Gen X.
Yeah, I think you're right. But
Into the boomer,
Jeff is an old soul,
into
though.
the boomer age.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like Gen X squared.
Yeah,
I think there's a few of us out there.
yeah.
Can you sing a little bit of that for us?
Go for it. No, a little louder. And don't mute yourself when you edit this later.
Is it hot in here? Oh my gosh, I matched Steve now.
I know. I'm still red.
Steve, you and I met through a group called Conscious Capitalism. You remember this?
Yes, I do.
We sat down next to each other. I'm pretty sure you looked at my Catholic socks and you were like, "What's up with your socks,
That
bro?"
was right after I looked into your eyes, though.
Oh, I know. Intense eyes.
Yes.
Check out what's up with your socks, bro.
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, bro, I'm Catholic."
JP2 are on my feet.
That's right. That is exactly.
Or as Jeff likes to say, on his legs.
That's where I wear my socks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, that's struck up a pretty neat conversation, and it turned out a couple of people at our table. We just started talking about faith and business, and that's when this whole relationship took off. And then I got to know more about you. But for my co-host here, let's hear the Steve show. What is the Steve Life Show? And maybe take us back to, were you raised Catholic? Were you a convert to the faith? I want to hear kind of the whole kind of pathway here.
Okay. Yeah, raised Catholic, very Catholic, strict. We would show up 15 minutes late for church and walk straight down the middle aisle, sit in the front row. It was the most embarrassing thing ever.
Show up late is part of it.
CCD,
Yeah.
and lived really close to the parish, so it was kind of cool. Didn't really ever leave the faith. Certainly questioned, I think, as everybody does, oftentimes. My real journey with the church, not that it's not always ongoing, but was probably in college when when I went to Rome, and you and I have talked about that before, but there'd been some major things happen in my life.
You were there as part of the program from your college, right?
From the University of Dallas.
Yeah.
And I was kind of in a point in my life where I said, I don't know if there's a God or not. If there is, I'm not sure that I like him.
Yeah.
And I was bipolar. I was going to mass every morning and going out and partying as hard as I could every night and just trying to figure it out. But it was a really the specific time for me was Stations of the Cross with John Paul II, and
He was the one leading it.
he was the one leading it.
Wow.
And
So you got to be present for that in Rome.
that and the Easter Vigil service.
Yeah, wow.
It was pretty cool.
If you're going to be bipolar, you might as well go to the extremes on both ends.
I know. Yeah. So that was an incredible experience. Other than the 12-hour long service, which was amazing, people passing out left and right because you're standing there. But
that
it was
took root
awesome.
in you. There was something about that moment.
Yeah, no, that entire semester was incredible for me, going to CC and just traveling all over Italy.
If I can digress, I had no idea that they were doing the Rome campus visits in the early 50s when you attended college.
Woo! Shots fired.
Let's see, what was that song that I used to live? Oh, Give My Regards to Broadway.
Oh, turnabout is fair play.
Yeah, so
That's awesome.
you and I had one of the most unique moments of my entire life, Steve, and I'm just going to share it with everybody.
Oh, boy.
If you ever look at a picture of downtown Dallas or a video, there's a ball. Like one of the buildings is a ball. And if you're inside the ball, it's kind of a spinning restaurant. It spins slowly. Don't worry. It's not a Six Flags
I
ride.
heard they
Stuck
actually.
to the wall.
I heard they stopped the spinning now at the new restaurant. Yeah. They've
Oh,
shut
they
it.
did?
They've shut it down. Yeah.
A few years ago, we went and it was still spinning.
Yeah.
So as of 2019,
Oh, thanks
But
a lot,
that was still
COVID.
Wolfgang Puck.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
still Wolfgang Puck.
I've heard
Yeah.
they stopped it with this new restaurant.
Wow. Yeah, because it would rotate
That's a miss.
once an hour, I think. So
Right.
basically, the course
Yeah.
of your dinner, you got to see all of
Right.
Dallas. Yeah.
Instead, you might get stuck with a date looking out over Lou Sterrett.
Who wouldn't ask for that
What a
seat?
nice jail that is.
Hey, babe, let's go downtown. There's a ball that sits there.
Well, it's like a golf ball, right? Which is appropriate for Dallas.
It's a rotating ball that they turned off.
Yeah.
I feel like this is explaining to me a lot of, and you're in commercial real estate, so now you've just tied two things together. Why Dallas just went way downhill in the last few years. It's the ball.
Yeah.
The day the ball stopped spinning.
Yeah.
Give my
the
regards
day.
to,
To the-
To
Reunion
Baldwin.
Tower.
Spinning ball. Yeah.
That's what it's called, Reunion Tower.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we were there, and two things happened up there in my life. The first one I'm going to tell you has nothing to do with Steve. A gentleman up there at a different conference looked out over the edge and asked me if he thought we could freebase up there.
Did he know?
He meant base jump.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to ask that
Freebasing
question.
is
very different.
Illicit, very dangerous drug use that caught Richard Pryor's hair on fire. And I looked at him in front of a group of people. I said, I think you can do that anywhere. I don't think you need to be up high to freebase.
As long as you're willing to deal with the consequences.
That's two very risky things I've never done.
What about simultaneously?
Or suggested doing.
I would have to.
Or
It's a
thought
short
about.
list, though. It's a short list.
Let's free base jump.
Just hard to do. Okay, so that was one. Then the next, gosh, I like to really, I'm getting bipolar now.
There you go.
Okay, so the next was you and I were up there, and I think that I was staring intently in your eyes.
I'm sure.
And you
happens.
said, I have a story to tell. And we ended up finishing this story as brothers. It was, my old friends turned into brothers. And I can remember embracing you. And then I can remember pulling away and saying, would you ever talk about this on live radio?
Yeah. I said, I think I have to think about that one for a while.
You did.
And you're still thinking about it.
Yeah.
Would you talk about it on a podcast?
Luckily, we're not on live radio, right?
We can edit anything.
There you
So here goes my question. Could you take us back to when you said you were really questioning, if there was God and if there was, do you like him? You went through an ongoing hell that I would like maybe just to turn it over to you and talk about how this kind of both goes from trauma all the way through to a sense of purpose.
Yeah. So, and you guys haven't heard this. So, I don't know if it gets easier to talk about or harder to talk about. Probably a little tricky today.
Yeah. No. There's a lot going on.
A lot going on. But just growing up, my family, I thought we were the perfect Catholic family. 7 kids, 15 minutes late to Mass. Dad was a doctor. We were upper middle class. There was a lot of weird things that happened that I just felt like we were very different, but I thought it was that we were just awesome. I didn't know that it was something very different.
Sure.
When I was, so the story for me starts when my sister Beth got kicked out of our house when she was like 15. Straight A student, beautiful blonde, cheerleader, and my dad threw her out. I mean, like put all her stuff in plastic bags and chunked her out. And told me not, we were never to have any conversation or contact with her. And I just, it's your parents, so you just go, okay.
Oh.
Fast forward, I was living in Mexico, and I started questioning, like, I was starting to get old enough to be a dad. I'm like, what would my daughter have to do for me to throw her out of the house and never speak to her again and not let her have any contact? And I just went through the list all the way to murder.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would still have I mean, I might have to testify against her. I might have to, she might be going to prison, but I would still have a relationship with my daughter.
Yeah.
And try to have contact with her.
Hmm.
And so I come back from Mexico, and my oldest brother was with me. We were out on the farm. We were actually, I don't know if you remember, but we were killing chickens. we were butchering like 50 chickens and, farm life.
Yeah, it's part of farms.
And we're sitting out there, and I go, hey, what'd Beth do? And his eyes just got huge, and he said, I can't tell you that. I'm like, dude, I'm 17 years old. I don't know what Beth did. And, I haven't seen her for years. And he said, well, this actually goes back to some Catholic stuff, but he said, well, your dad has the same problem that Father Conran has, who I thought was the coolest dude on the planet. I said, what problem is that? And he said he molests children. And, well, first I just got angry and I thought he was a liar. And
Sure.
I ran back to the house. We lived maybe a quarter of a mile down the road. And as I'm going back to the house, everything started just popping into my head. There's a million things. I mean, this could go on forever, but
like light bulbs.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, that makes more sense now. Or
right.
Yeah.
Stuff that happened to your family, your house,
myself,
self.
Everything. And why one of my very close friends cried every time his parents made him spend the night because he never wanted to spend the night at our house, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And then, there's all sorts of other stuff that came out. Like Dad came home one night after a quote traffic accident, just beat to snot, his, cuts all over him, bruised, couldn't hardly speak. And then, it just was weird. Like there was no follow up.
That's not a traffic accident.
I didn't see the car, like the car wasn't wrecked, just stuff like that. And things like that happened. We had the FBI come to our house and do ballistics on our guns because a couple of his partners had lost their lives to murder. So it was pretty wild. You're
17 putting all this together.
17. I'm about to go into my senior year in high school. So the family ended up having an intervention here in Dallas. I hadn't really been to Dallas before, but and they took him up to the top of the hotel at DFW Airport, and they got him to go up based on telling him that one of my brothers was sick and dying, and he walked in the room with the rest of the family and his partners, and they basically said, you either go into this rehab facility or we're all leaving you, right?
Yeah.
And we're calling the police. Well, police were called anyways, and so he was prosecuted. So the day that I went to Rome, it's crazy to think back on this, like 19 years old, he had just been convicted. So I was in Portales, New Mexico at the courtroom, and he got convicted and sentenced to, 40 years or something. And I got in my car, drove back to Dallas, got dropped off at DFW Airport, got in an airplane and flew to Rome for the semester.
As a timeout, this is very intense. But thanks be to God for the timing of your Rome trip, for your journey, for your life. With what you've already shared about the light and dark of figuring out life in Rome.
Yeah.
Thank God. So he gets sentenced. He went away.
He went, I gave him a hug right there in the courtroom, and that was it.
Wow.
All right. I'm not even sure where to go with this, but can you play out more of now you and your family post jail? What happens next?
Well, I mean, I was he was my dad, and I loved him. And we had a ranch, farm and ranch in New Mexico, and he had some other businesses there. And so I would actually and nobody knew this at UD, which is kind of crazy, but I set up my schedule so that I could leave on a Thursday afternoon, drive 8 hours to our farm, stay with my mom, drive up to the prison by Albuquerque the next morning, be there for 8 hours or whatever, and then drive back and spend the weekend with Mom trying to help her with all the stuff she had on her plates. And then drive back Monday morning to Dallas and be at a biology lab by like 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
How were your grades?
You know what? My grades weren't bad.
Wow.
And I found a way to play a little bit of rugby too, so that was fun. But
Why not?
I took out all my aggression. Thank God for rugby. Thank God for the Catholic
Yeah.
Church, but also thank God for rugby.
Two very important
Yeah.
parts of dealing with a
Yeah.
rough patch.
Yeah. So that went on, and then my wife Dana met my dad
Really?
in prison.
jail. Yeah.
Mhm. And she wasn't scared of him like I was. They went after it. I was looking at her. I was crawling under the table. I was so nervous. He's a scary dude.
So when you would visit him, it was contentious. It was you just love
No.
your dad, so you're just
Yeah.
going to be there because that's what
Yeah.
family does.
Yeah, it was like, hey, he had a problem, but he's, it was a disease, and now it's better. Problem is, that doesn't get better. It's not just that. It's the whole like narcissistic, angry, abusive. Like it's not. It's the whole person. So, and that's when I broke contact with him was 2000, January 1st, 2000. He, long story short, but he basically physically attacked my wife in a cabin. We were staying in a cabin for the millennial celebration. And, he can do all that to me. He can't do it to my wife.
Yeah.
So I said, that's the last time I'll ever talk to you or see you. And we packed our bags. We literally walked down in the snow to 7-Eleven, and a buddy of mine came and drove up and picked us up and took us to the airport.
Did you ever reconnect with your dad after that?
No.
Okay. Your brothers and sisters, do y'all stay in touch?
Yeah. My sister Beth is no longer with us. I think you knew that.
I did.
Self-inflicted from my dad, because of my dad.
Yeah.
So, and that was tough. But no, we never reconnected. The siblings are all fairly close. The 6 of us left, and as I told you when I walked in the room that my dad died Friday. So, just
Steve, I want to
sorry.
give you a moment. No, thank you. I think
Yeah,
everybody
so-
hearing this needs to hear this, and I'll tell you why. The way that you have impacted me and the people in my life who know your story, because we really did have a little bit of this on the radio 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago. I can still recall hearing from you this like lost piece of this terrible disease and this terrible atrocity of molestation. And my summary of it, and I would love if you want to put any color to this, is
Sure.
We hear about the perpetrator and the criminal, and that gets a lot of attention, be it laity or priest or whoever. And we hear about the victims, but there's this lost pocket of the perpetrator's family, the perpetrator's kids. You didn't know this for
We talked about
17
that.
years. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that.
And you hear all these stories, you get mad at, I'll use an example you gave me. Jared from Subway is a fraud and a criminal, and you get mad at him, and we should be. What he did is terrible, and we cry for and pray for the victims. But that guy had kids, has kids.
Yeah.
They're human beings.
Yep.
And I think you dealing with your own father's death, I mean, dealing with it literally right now.
Right now, yeah.
Is that lost part of like, you're still a human. It's his son. He is a human. And how do you even like grapple with that if you don't have faith, if you don't have community, if you don't have an outlet like rugby or a 7-Eleven to hitchhike to? I don't know. You know, like,
Yeah.
how do you get through this stuff? But I think you just have a really neat view. Not neat, that's a dumb word. You have a really unique perspective on a pocket of people that get overlooked in this whole puzzle.
Well, I agree, and I do have a lot of sympathy for them because I am one, right? But I think one thing that I decided to do probably 10 years ago or so was talk about it and be vulnerable, because there's not many people that would be open about something like this.
Oh, yeah.
They don't ever talk about it.
Yeah.
They keep it closed forever. And I think when we talk about it, it helps heal. It helps other people that are going through it.
Yeah.
That feel like they're the only one, you know? So,
if anybody reaches out because of the show, I would love to be able to just send them to you.
100%.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. And I got to tell you, I'm not, and again, I'm still processing a lot of emotions over the last 4 days. So, but I don't currently feel regret or remorse for not reconnecting with my dad.
Sure.
I had an opportunity to FaceTime in his final hours. And I said no. And my reasoning was he had 23 years to call me, send me a letter, beg for forgiveness, do something.
Yeah.
I think the most interesting thing about his death is the finality of hope. Because when he's still alive, there's still that tiny glimmer of maybe he can be a real dad. Maybe he could come out and you know, ask for forgiveness. Maybe he could say something that'll make it better, or you know what I mean? And now that he's gone, it's like, nope, not gonna happen. So, but yeah,
I'll tell you what,
heavy. Sorry.
don't apologize. In
No.
fact, thanks for the vulnerability. I think that is a model for other people. And I got to believe there's people that are either going to listen to this when it comes out or in the months and years ahead, that this is going to speak to them about even just being able to open up to their own family, to a therapist, you know, something where they don't hold on to something that isn't theirs to bear. And so, geez, brother, you're brave, but you're also inspiring because we're all imperfect. We're all full of sin and flaw and brokenness and on a journey that has question marks next to a lot of different pockets and having rough days. I mean, we all three share like getting ready for the podcast. Today's a rough day. Today's a great day, you know, like,
Yeah.
but we still come in here and we can joke around just like we're going to play some stupid games with you in a little bit.
Absolutely.
But I think this is probably a good time for a break. We'll come back in and we'll talk about what does the Steve LaMure family look like, your family. That
Yeah,
you are a
baby.
good dad, and we're going to talk about that after the break. Thanks, y'all. Hey, y'all, this is Jeff Schuffelbein. When Nick and I set out to start our new company, Undivided Life, we were really concerned about how would we cover the healthcare needs of our growing families, and we were so excited to find a company that fit both our medical needs and our faith beliefs perfectly. It's called Solidarity Health Share. It is an ethical alternative to traditional health insurance. We're never part of sharing in the medical costs of anything that goes against the teachings of the Catholic Church, making it a great alternative for Catholics and Christians alike. Solidarity is very affordable, which is perfect for a large family or for a new and growing business like the one we've started. So visit joinsolidarity.com today so that you can get started with us.
The team at Aquinas Wealth Advisors believes that good values and good returns are not mutually exclusive. Using a tech-smart and morally sound approach, they provide investment alternatives that align with Catholic teachings without sacrificing returns. These days, faith-driven investors are finding it hard to know where their money is going. They have no visibility into what their dollars are supporting, but there's a better way. Thanks to the Faith and Finance Score from Aquinas Wealth Advisors, you can look into your current holdings to see what you're supporting and make a switch to an advisor that aligns with your values and gives power to your voice. Check out AquinasWealth.com today.
Hi, it's Paul Kolker from the BeatiDudes here, and I just wanted to share with you guys that I also, outside of the show, perform improv comedy on a regular basis with a group called Divine Comedy. So what we do is we come up with everything on the spot, so whether you're looking for faith-filled, fun, family-friendly comedy for your youth night, or whether you're looking for clean comedy for your corporate event, Divine Comedy can perform for your group and even get you in on the action. So if you'd like to hire us to come out and perform for your next event, check out DivineComedyImprov.com. Divine Comedy, an inferno of fun. Welcome back, everybody, to the BeatiDudes. We're here with Steve LaMure. Am I saying that right?
Yep.
Steve LaMure, there we go. And he just, wow. that first part. That was that was heavy, but enlightening, right? And it takes a load off, I think, for a lot of people to be able to hear somebody else. Makes me think of a couple of Bible verses I looked up during the break because I couldn't remember them exactly. But the first one is Psalm 139, where we hear that the darkness is not dark to you, O Lord, and the night shines as the day. But that verse has always spoken to me as God's not scared of our darkness. God's not scared of the suffering and the ways that we have been beat up by this world or by other people and even some of those closest to us, as we learned in your story. And so. And then the other verse was Luke 19:27. But as for these enemies of mine who did not want me to be king over them, bring them here and slay them in my presence. And that it's from a parable, but it's an interesting one because I think sometimes we hear that and we're like, wow, that sounds super intense coming from the God of love. And I've heard a spiritual interpretation of this, that we're supposed to bring these things that are the darknesses in our lives, the difficult moments in our lives, and bring them before the Lord and basically just torch them right there in front of him, because those are not supposed to have the lordship over us. It's the Lord himself who rules and reigns, and you sharing all of that, I think, is giving a lot of people permission to do just that and to bring those things, those places of darkness out and bring them into the Lord's presence.
Yeah, man, get it out.
Yeah, and slay it. The word righteous can be used a lot of different ways, but like righteous anger is real.
Well, and Jesus got angry. Like he got angry at people getting in the way of the healing that he was trying to bring.
And well, we can go way deeper into that which you do to the
least of these.
Yeah. So, my goodness, we're going to first bring a little bit of levity back in here, because then we're going to hear about the joy and hope of life after college for you and Dana and the beautiful life that you've built. But we're going to start off with a little something, something.
First, we're going to play a game called Blessed Are the Joke Makers. For they shall inherit the... how many points do you want to give out here, Steve? Less than 100.
Why? I want to catch up to you.
Oh, less than 300.
How about 30?
30. That's a good round number.
Oh, gosh. And you want to explain this?
Yeah, sure. So we've got a character card and the Catholic card game card. And
we're so far behind him. We need a multiplier.
I know. Maybe I need to
something.
Just be like, gosh, I don't know if I know how to do this.
Oh,
but what if I win when there's a multiplier? Then you'll have to be so much further behind.
What if I just say that you're the winner now?
What? No.
Let's go. I didn't even pay you for that.
Well,
Steve, my God.
Okay, are we even playing the
Congratulations
game?
to
All right,
30 points for me. 30 points for me, and the game is for fun. Sometimes you just need to play for the fun of it. Don't lose it, Jeff. It's not all about points.
Sure. Mr. Optionality over here.
There's some competition
plug
going
it
on
into
here.
the spreadsheet.
He's got a risk-reward system against us somehow.
Absolutely. I don't even know
I
how he
just
does
don't
it.
think people like it when the two of you are ganging up on me week after week. I just think that's it.
You're all alone
They're very
over there.
bitter about their
They're
lack of
all your
choice.
point guardian angels.
That'd be Father Ken Geraci.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's true. All right. So as this character, we have to answer this prompt. And so we got to kind of take on this persona. So as a video game addict, we have to answer the question, I would like blank for Christmas.
You know, I already know what I want for Christmas. And Steve, if you could just help me to do this. It's actually, my parents don't want to get this for me, but I figured out there's a way to get it from them. Up, down, left, right, BA, select, start. It's a cheat code from Nintendo.
Wow.
I mean, it's from 86.
That's
Yep.
impressive.
I still remember.
That's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Wow. That's good.
I had to immediately explain it, which felt weird. Go ahead, Nicholas.
Hey mom, you know what I want for Christmas? I want Roblox, because then I can make a ball in the city, in the sky, and it'll actually rotate.
He's using my trick. Bring it back to the show.
Huh.
Mom, what I would like for Christmas is I would like for you to bring down into the basement where I dwell. I would like for you to bring an eggs box. Take out all the eggs. Just give me the box. And actually, you know what? Wait, switch that. Go ahead and give me a PS5.
Mom, can you bring my avatar? A Hot Pocket?
Hot Pocket.
Steve, somebody won this somehow. I'm not even sure what just happened.
Yeah,
I'm not either. And I was surprised with the Broadway comment that you didn't go with Tetris, but you were close. Man, I got to go with Jeff.
Yeah. All right, Jeff.
And that has nothing to do with our friendship.
All right, 30 points. And because you selected me, no, actually, because you are our celebrity guest judge, you're going to get a pair of Sacrilegious socks. And guess which ones you're getting?
Oh, JP2.
JP2. The socks that brought us together when you were looking at my legs.
They're such special socks for you and I. They like define our relationship.
And yours.
What a
Jesus.
witness
You're
to
awesome.
these socks, right? Like, they're not just socks.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
Thank
can
you, Scott
still-
Williams.
Yeah, you can still wear them to the party and to the stations because you're allowed to do both.
And you can actually say that it's whichever pope you want, really.
But that's really his thing.
Sort of.
Well, yeah, that is a famous picture of him.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you only wear one of them, it's JP1.
Oh, wow.
If you
so quick.
if you look, that was good. If you look at it like that, though.
Oh,
Could
true.
be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. Could be just because of the white.
Yeah.
You're all about perception. So if you want your own pair of Sacrilegious socks and you want to make us look good, go to sacrilegious.com/BeatiDudes for 10% off. And you can dress up just like Steve LaMure.
Special.
That's all the kids are talking about.
No, special. With my Tetris.
My sock drawer looks like Tetris. Steve, we
Yes.
alluded to this earlier, but can we now take your story forward? So let's move past the very incredibly difficult past into you find a woman and faith, and you keep going forward with what I would call, a normal adulthood. Talk to us about what that pathway's been like, where you're at now, all that great stuff, and maybe even plug your work.
I would say normal would be very relative, but
I know a lot of people.
yeah, what's funny is I was actually I don't know if you knew this, maybe, that I went to the live-in week at the seminary.
Nope.
And I met Dana the following weekend.
What is live? You go and just check it out?
You go stay there for a week and kind of discern if you want to maybe put in your application.
Nobody would go party with you.
And we all went to mass, but they didn't do that after.
Guys, we're supposed to do both.
No, the crazy thing was actually Bishop Greg Kelly
Mm-hmm.
was my spiritual advisor.
Whoa.
I probably can't tell the rest of the story, but
There you go.
Man, that was a cool story.
Let's just do a hard edit between those two.
let's just say there was a need at the time for seminarians, and so there was he and I pushed back an application back and forth a couple of times. I told him I'd met Dana, and he said that's okay, and you can discern, and we kind of went back and forth, and I finally said, as sweat beads were running down my head, I was like, man, that's a big commitment.
Sweat's part of discernment.
Yes, it is, and I think for me, it's like, kind of once I make that commitment, I'm probably not going back, So it was a big deal. But so Dana and I have been married 27 years. Wow. We have 3 kiddos, 19-year-old who just spent a year in Spain, a gap year. They call it a gap year.
It's just a cute term for not doing anything.
We used to call it go to Europe and party for a year. And
Veiled as a study abroad.
and she's going to Santa Clara next month. My 15-year-old Lillian is she's spent several weeks in Korea, and she's going back to Korea, South Korea. Just
As a
FYI.
high schooler? Like an
15 years-
exchange
she's-
program?
yeah,
Or?
for 6 months. Yeah.
Wow.
Whoa.
And she got a app on her phone and started learning Korean when she was like 12 or 11, and it's pretty incredible.
I've never heard of a kid doing this.
I know. Well, there's also a band called BTS.
Oh, is it
Mm.
K-pop?
K-pop.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it too. I assure you.
That's a thing now. Like,
It
that's
is.
huge.
It is a big thing.
Yeah.
The K-drama is the K-pop. The
Okay.
get
Huh.
out, get the K out. It's like, let's just say there's a lot of kimchi in my fridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so that's cool. And then my son Ignatius is going to he's going to be an 8th grader, and you know, I mean, you bring
He stays in Texas.
Yeah, for now. Yeah, he did just get back from a trip to Wyoming, which he had a really nice time with his friend. But
I would like to be your kid.
I would like to be my kid.
Right, any one of them, really.
Yeah. That's maybe I'm trying to give him a lot of what I didn't get, but yeah, I mean, you know, marriage. There's a lot of baggage that I brought into the marriage,
Sure.
and usually when someone has had a lot of trauma in their lives, they usually run into somebody that maybe not similar, but you know,
has experienced some
issues as well. And so Dana and I's relationship has been tough at times, as is every marriage.
Sure.
You don't stay married for 27 years without a lot of work. But you know, it's been good. It's been fantastic. And you know, my kids are great.
And last question, kind of on the current family scenario, you kept going on the farm theme, right? You live kind of out, not close to here, but you work right next door most days.
Yeah, I've got about an hour and 20-minute commute to Glen Rose.
That's why you know about how the BeatiDudes goes.
I know. I listen to y'all. I listen to 6-year podcasts every day.
We got to start cranking out more episodes.
Yeah, I know.
You know, most people
I started
say,
back over
I'm
twice.
behind.
Yeah. Not Steve.
I actually think we're going to start recording Steve-only episodes just to help you.
Just to help me on
Hey,
my.
Steve,
I get to listen to myself.
This is Steve episode number 47.
This goes out to all you Steves out there.
Man, I liked episode 46 so much. I think I'll listen to it again. Yeah. No, but it's fantastic.
Horses and fishing and
Horses and
killing
fishing
chickens.
and killing chickens and forerunners and
Killing forerunners?
killing chickens with forerunners.
almost dead.
Actually, I'm not getting called by anybody. You're supposed to kill chickens to eat them, but don't run them over.
Sorry. We went sideways. It was butchering chickens, and it was in the last part of the episode.
That's
not
right.
This part.
That's right. You're right. You're right.
Let's move on. The death and murder scene is, but I will tell you, I think that, you know, I don't think a lot of people think about this, but there's a lot of, so I'm an entrepreneur. I've got multiple businesses. As you guys know, I'm opening a restaurant in Glen Rose next week.
Everybody in the U.S. listening knows about Glen Rose, Texas, right?
And
home of what restaurant?
It's whiskywoods.com
That
with
sounds
an
pretty
I,
awesome.
not an EY, just
Whiskey
a Y.
Woods. Oh, the I's in the end of whiskey.
The end of whiskey.
Sorry.
I thought it was like .com was spelled with an I.
.icom.
.sim. No.
Oh, it's spiritistv.com for anybody listening. I looked it up.
Thank you.
Keep going.
Perfect. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, brilliant idea to start this restaurant, but hopefully it adds joy to our family.
But I think if you just market it like the billboards, only an hour and 20 minutes to
Hey, that really worked for Buc-ee's.
Hey, you don't have to go to sleep on a full stomach and gain weight. By the time you get home,
you don't have to eat again.
That's it.
you're good. But
Just open a restaurant or a hotel in between so you can stop and take a
that's
nap.
right. That's right. Yeah, I'm working on that one too. Shiny nickel. But you know, one of the things that brings it is that is the trauma that you face allows you to it allows you to react to certain things, right? Like when my dad would come home angry, I had to figure out how to manipulate, how to sell him, how to, you know, and so there's a lot of what happened to me when I was younger that I used to be successful in my business life all day long. So, so it's interesting that you can turn that around and almost, I mean, I wouldn't say thankful, but almost like at least I was able to use these tools that I got, right? Like when my mom and dad would tell me to clean my room, my brother wouldn't clean his room.
Mm-hmm.
And he would get in trouble and he would get, you know, abused. I mean, he and they told me to clean my room. I cleaned my room spotless and I got to do whatever I wanted to do. And I use that same stuff in business today, right? How do I get employees to do certain things? And, you know, if an employee asks me to do something, I'm going to do it right so that I can then turn around and get them to do something. You know what I mean? There's just a lot of a lot of learning from having to navigate that road from, age 0 to age, 27.
Yeah.
So,
well,
anyways.
I feel like you've been watched over by a whole lot of Holy Spirits and angels. And so the question for our TBD question of the day is really around guardian angels. We talked about this one, not on the air before, but, I remember somebody saying, if you don't know what to pray for somebody, pray for their guardian angel to intercede and to call up whatever prayers they need. The guardian angel always knows. And then that's when it hit me. I don't know what my relationship is with my guardian angel. So the question for everybody is, what's your relationship with your guardian angel? And, do you have one, and what's it like now? And so I got to tell you, I'm on that journey. I try to purposely keep my guardian angel in my present thoughts and part of my prayers. And then I sit there and try to name my guardian angel, like, I think it's you, Augustine. I think, we both had some wild days. Or then I'll be like, it's you, Saint Michael, the archangel. Like, then I'm like, maybe I don't know your name. Maybe it's not any of you famous ones. I don't know. So I'm on that journey right now. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, as a kid, I felt like more connected probably than I have recently. And maybe that was like the classic like guardian angel photo, which was in my sister's room, and you would fall asleep during family rosary time or something like that. And your mom would say, it's okay, your guardian angel will finish it for you.
Your mom's a saint. That's
that sort of saying. And so, yeah, I think I'm probably where you are, Jeff. I need to like think on that a little bit more. And you say that guardian angel prayer as a kind of rote daily prayer. But what beyond that? It's a question for me.
Yeah. And it's almost like going through that pathway of like, do I have one? Do I believe in one? So, yeah. What about you, Paul?
Yeah. So I don't necessarily always think about having the relationship, which is maybe something I could work on, but I do say the guardian angel prayer probably every day. It was just something we were kind of brought up to do. And then really it was when I was, for the period of time I was in seminary, that I remember at some point, and I can't remember the date, but Pope Benedict at the time broke his arm, was in a sling for a little while, and said something about, clearly my guardian angel was told to stand down for whatever reason.
Wow. Yeah.
And I remember that blowing my mind at the time, that like, oh yeah, I guess you can look at it as, yeah, God had higher orders, and it was, and I think he said something else about, for power is made perfect in weakness, quoting St. Paul, and how, not relying on ourselves means we have to rely on God. And so there's all these beautiful messages baked in there. But I remember that just being a moment of saying, okay, yeah, our guardian angels are at work, and sometimes they're given different orders. And then you look throughout Scripture, and angels show up all the time. And so it's something I've been trying to bring to the fore more often, but definitely still saying just that guardian angel prayer, especially if there's any moment where I just feel like, something's not quite right, and just kind of toss that in there.
Yeah, right on. What about you, buddy?
I think the closest thing for me, and this will kind of sound corny because it's my name, but St. Stephen, the martyr.
Yeah.
And I always find myself saying, he who is without sin, throw the first stone. And not that was the same episode, and sometimes I'll say, and don't throw the stones at me, but that always pops into my head.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sure. You both said you grew up praying the guardian angel prayer. I learned the guardian angel prayer when my kid was in preschool or kindergarten from listening to her pray at night. And I was like, wait, slow down. Wait, let me get this right, to light, to guard. I'm like, okay, I got it.
Rule and guide.
Yeah. I'm like trying to keep up with my daughter. And I'm like, so many of us are evangelized through our children, through their prayer, through their innocence. So, it's actually become very recently, since we were on a trip 2 weeks ago, it's become part of my daily prayer is the guardian angel prayer. I'm still working on my spelling words and my sight words, but I'll get there.
I've said that prayer my whole life pretty much, and taught my kids it as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, good. Well, let's finish this off in traditional BeatiDudes fashion, where we finish every show differently with our guest. And so it's always fun to come up with what's next. And this is an old get-to-know-you game, Steve.
All right.
You're going to have to guess, as each one of us goes, in an old game of 2 truths and a lie. So there's like a poker face thing going on here too. Like I feel like your intense eye contact be an advantage for you.
Of course.
So if you get all 3 points right, you're going to get 400 points. If you get all 3 of ours right. If any one of us stumps you, that person gets 2 points. That's a lot on the line there.
Yeah. That's
400
cool.
points almost puts you in a tie with me and Ball. I mean, it's pretty close.
I could probably trade him in for a sock. It's like 400 points a sock.
I think that's the current
going rate.
exchange ratio. Yep. That works.
Yep.
Well, then Christopher's going to tell us how many socks we owe our audience. We probably shouldn't throw that out there.
Right.
Christopher, do not divide by 400. We don't need that.
All right. Who's going first on Stump Steve, 2 truths and a lie?
I'm happy to.
Nicholas.
Awesome. Steve, in college, I learned to do a standing backflip. After college, I traveled with my roommates and participated in the Gloucestershire Cheese Rolling Festival. And in high school, I broke my arm playing football.
Man.
What are you thinking here?
I'm thinking he wants me to say the cheese rolling thing.
You feel like that's what he wants?
That's what he wants me to say.
You're getting in there, huh? In that brain.
I don't think he broke your arm in football.
Correct.
Wow.
I broke my leg.
I figured you broke something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Steve,
God, I like this game.
you're a third of the way to
Incredible.
400.
It's like 100 and something.
I can't do it either. Paul?
133.
Thank you.
0.3333.
Keep going.
3.
It's an irrational number. Keep going.
3.
It's not an integer.
We can never get
Paul.
to the end.
Oh, it's my turn? My turn. Okay.
Sure. I'm not continuing to ask you for more math.
I was wondering.
How long does this thing go on for?
3.
All right, here we go.
Round it up.
So here okay. Stop, Nick. Jeez. Okay. I have sparred with Chuck Norris. I can speak Italian. And I was at the canonization of John Paul II. I feel like he's reading my soul.
I know. It's really weird because when he gives you that look, he actually extracted other things you didn't talk about.
Yeah. I feel like I need to go to confession.
And I remember that time that you...
What? No. Let's
End of show.
Edit.
You were not at JP2's coronation or...
Canonization.
Sorry.
Actually, okay, so I was there for that. I did not spar with
Chuck Norris.
Oh,
man.
But I know somebody who knows him, so it was like a close kind of thing.
All right. So you're never going to get 400 points, but you could come out with... I'll give you his... never mind. You get no points.
I just screwed this whole thing up because you said canonization.
Yeah.
And I was thinking...
Oh, the papal installation?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
before he was born.
I was like,
Yeah.
there's no way.
I wrote... Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Give my regards to Broadway. No, okay, here's my 3. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay, I'm going to get my mouth ready. I'm going to
Okay,
stare
me
into
too.
your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That was one. Okay, here we go, Steve.
Okay.
I go camping every year for my birthday. I had a camp named after me. My foot cramps almost every night. Those are my 3.
And those are incredible.
I live a very exciting life.
Those are awesome.
I don't know why I
You
did
do
those
not
3.
go camping every year on your birthday.
Gosh,
He
brother.
got you.
Just go again and give him 266.6666 points.
6.
Repeating
6.
with the little line over the top of the last 6, and we're good.
Oh my goodness. Well, this has been our Monday episode with Steve LaMure. It'll be fun to try to come up with a title to this one, Steve.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. So, man, God bless you. And
Thank you, man.
Absolutely.
may your guardian angel continue to put you in the places that you need to be, protect over you, and also every once in a while let you break your arm if that's what's called for.
Yeah.
Yes.
When I
that
fall out of the
sounds so
Pope Mobile.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know when that's going to happen next.
To the rest of you, we'll take you out here at the We're going to take you out of here with the guardian angel prayer. I'm going to see if I can get this right. Angel of God, my guardian dear, to whom God's love commits me here. Ever this day be at my side, to light, to guard,
to rule, and to guide.
To rule and guide.
Amen.
So like to
In the name of the
guard.
Father, Son, and
Close.
Holy Spirit.
Close.
We'll see you soon. For the rest of you, we will see you in the Eucharist. God bless you.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to join us at our undersized table, subscribe to the video version of the show on YouTube by typing @ that's the symbol @, so shift and 2 on your keyboard, @the_BeatiDudes on YouTube. We'll see you there.
This podcast is part of the Spoke Street Network. For more great podcasts, visit spokestreet.com.